welcome to the PI Show. This is the show that talks about everything to do in personal injury law and litigation today. With me I have two partners from my law firm, Don Mafia. Don.
Good evening, John. Good evening, viewers.
And Nuncio Tatalia.
John, viewers, welcome.
Tonight, viewers, we've got part two of our special on trains and the railway network. Tonight, we have two special guests. A train driver of 37 years, Tony Brock, who will tell us about his life experience as a train driver, and Andrew Lezala. He's the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of Metro Trains. However, before that...
What's in the news, John?
As always, there's plenty in the news. Firstly, GrowCon is in the news. GrowCon, they were in court last week, weren't they, Nuncio?
Yes, they were. So, look, we've discussed this a few times on the show, and it's taken, I suppose, another development, and they've been formally charged now. And so there's a committal hearing upcoming, but effectively, WorkSafe have made some fairly strong allegations against GrowCon and also Aussie Signs, who are the other company involved, and no safety checks, no building permits, no detailed design, no risk assessment.
That's it, viewers. No safety checks. That's the allegations made against GrowCon and the second defendant, Aussie Signs. It's pretty serious stuff. Yeah.
So for the viewers, it was where they put this hoarding on a brick wall, and that fell on three people, or killed three people in one of our windiest days. Yes. And they're looking at, so no safety checks. This is a building, GrowCon, huge, national, haven't done the simple safety checks or risk assessments.
Alleged.
And they're looking at about, what, $6 million fines if found guilty.
At the same time, the question is, a $6 million fine for a company that's worth over $1 billion, is it enough?
Well, then you weigh it up with how much would a risk assessment have cost them, or safety check. So it's,
a couple of grand?
Look, arguably it doesn't compare, and, you know, there's an article recently about GM who have been only fined $35 million in the States for, I think they've killed, I think how many people? It's quite a few people because of their failed ignition switches. So,
exactly. Which they hid.
The measures sometimes are comparable, but also there's going to be some civil penalties associated with this. So I'm sure the families will take the next step.
Well, this is where the families have claims against those two companies, GrowCon and Aussie Signs, particularly the French lady that was killed. She was working as a researcher, therefore there may be dependency claims. Look, it's a wait and see story, isn't it?
Oh, look, it's going to be an ongoing for years, to be honest.
Well, the problem is we won't get a hearing date until 2015.
Yep.
Well, they're expected to go back to court on August the 25th, but the court system sounds like next year, John. So.
And Nuncio, talking about the VWA, or Victorian Work Cover Authority, investigating employers, they're now investigating the Essendon Football Club. Your beloved Essendon Football Club.
It just keeps going. I thought we were done with this story, and I come back and there's more now.
So you've got ASADA and the VWA on looking at the Essendon Football Club?
Yeah, so someone, either the AFL or ASADA or another body have contacted the VWA and say, look, I want an investigation done.
Well, couldn't the VWA just step in? Because at the end of the day, the football players are employees of the football club. So John, is that right under WorkSafe?
We've got Section 131 of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. The Victorian Work Cover Authority may investigate an employer for breaches of the Act. In essence, there's been a breach of health and safety regulations at an employer's site. Here, we've got a situation where players are allegedly being given medication or substances of unknown
Which Essendon can't say exactly what were provided, and that's, I think...
Can't or won't?
Look, we don't know yet, because as I said, we don't know the outcome of, one, the ASADA report and also WorkSafe, but look, it's a two-pronged attack now from ASADA and VWA, so unfortunately I think my beloved clubs are in a bit of strife.
They're in the gun, aren't they?
Yeah. And just on that, John, I mean, they don't... The players don't know. They're employees, like us giving our employees anything, just so take it, don't ask any questions. So it's a complete breach or alleged breach of their safety.
Well, at the same time, won't the players say, no, stop, I'm not going to take a substance?
Could they say no, John?
Well,
Could they say no? Or they get the list. I mean, who knows? It never ends.
I'm not
Well,
saying
you
anything.
tell us.
I think we should move on, John.
From what I
Listen to me.
what I understand, the Essendon Football Club will now indemnify the legal costs of the players in regards to any prosecutions.
And look, well, they should, but there's now an issue where that falls under the salary cap. So Essendon's got a lot of legal problems.
Well, that story remains to be seen, viewers, and I'm sure there's a lot more to be seen in that regard. Don, Dad wins payout, a forklift driver. What's happened here?
Forklift driver at work estimates drove over a certain section 600 times, and because of the uneven surface, injures himself.
So he's a forklift driver, and he's going up and down this surface 600 times a day.
Yep.
And he's going like that, and he does his back. And as a result of that, he wins a payout from a jury of 800 grand.
Yeah.
It's a big payout. Massive payout.
Look, I think the way it was run was that there was an uneven surface, and the fact that they knew that he was going over this uneven surface every day and put him at risk.
It's county court civil action. This is a jury verdict. Pain and suffering, damages, and loss of economic loss for future and past. And he's a 48-year-old guy. That must be on the basis that he probably can never work again.
Wow. Yeah. But John, I think the key to this case, would it not, he made complaints to his employer. He put his employer on notice. Exactly. He said, listen, something's going to happen here, it's uneven. And had he not said that,
liability would have been...
He may not have got that at all.
Yeah, so viewers, it's just an example. If you don't complain at work, say, look, this is a problem, this will cause an injury to me, your claim might not be successful.
True.
One final thing, bullied teachers are not only seeking payouts, but getting a stack in payouts, aren't they, Nons?
Look, I was stunned at the stats about the amount of work cover claims associated with teachers and bullying at work, and the amount of compensation paid out. Look, it's great that they got the access to that compensation.
3.5 million in the last few years.
Oh, the numbers are immense. They are seriously immense.
They've lodged 131 teachers in a year lodged a claim for compensation.
So
131.
So again, viewers, and again, this goes to the state government of Victoria. You need to put more funding for teacher support to try and stop the bullying and these stress claims. But viewers, we'll get to all that. Thank you, gentlemen. But after the break, viewers, we have, as I said previously, the CEO of Metro Trains, Andrew Lezala, and Tony Brock, a train driver, talking about their experiences. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back, viewers, to the show. Tonight we have our special guest, the CEO of Metro Trains in Victoria, Andrew Lezala. Andrew.
Hello.
And Tony Brock, a train driver of 37 years.
Good evening,
Tony.
John.
Now, tonight, viewers, we're talking about trains and the railway network and the life that these two gentlemen lead. Andrew, tell me about what you do every day.
Well, I'm the CEO of quite a big company, so I actually run the business, but I have a very active interest in the welfare of my employees and the welfare of my customers, because as the CEO of a railway and being the accredited rail operator, I have a personal responsibility, and the company has a responsibility and a duty of care to all of our employees and all of our customers. So I spend a lot of time in that space, as well as making sure that the railway is operating correctly, information is available to customers, shareholders are happy, PTV are happy, who are our prime commercial customer. We run a franchise for the PTV on their behalf. The railway is a large and growing railway. It's actually about 870 kilometres of track, 218 railway stations, 206 six-car trains, 4,300 employees, and we move about 470,000 people a day on 800,000 trips.
And this is in basically Melbourne metropolitan and wider metropolitan area.
Yes, so it's Greater Melbourne, really.
Greater Melbourne. You've got a tough job.
I've got a very interesting and challenging job, and it's something I really enjoy doing. I love railways, always have. Like Tony, I've been in the business 37 years. We have railways in our blood, and we're here to serve the public of Melbourne and do a good job. That's what we aim to do.
And Tony, you're a train driver of 37 years. You must love the job.
Yeah, I do love the job, John.
But it's tough, isn't it?
It is tough at times.
It's you've seen a lot of good aspects about the job, but then you've seen some horrific aspects, haven't you?
I have, John, and what we're here tonight is to try and get out a message, to try and maybe prevent someone from getting hit by a train,
Yes.
and maybe try and stop traumatic events happening to drivers. That's what it's about, education.
And it's education about the trauma that drivers and workers on the train line experience when these events occur. Events such as near misses or a near hit. Correct, Andrew?
Correct.
It's a near hit. It's not a near miss. Train surfers, these people that get onto a train and they're callous, they're there having fun, but Tony, they can affect people, can't they?
That's right, John. What they do is they break into our train, then they'll video themselves doing it, and then they post it on YouTube. And they think it's fun, but it's not. They're close to getting injured themselves.
Well, not only injured, but some of them have actually died doing this skylarking, this train surfing. But not only that, some of them have been seriously injured, and that of course affects not only themselves, their families, but also people that witness it. And those witnesses are usually the train driver or train employees. And that has a ripple effect, doesn't it, Tony?
That's right. Just from one incident, a fatality, it might affect 50 people. It'll affect the train driver, the people that come out to help the train driver, the ambulance people, the police, the people on the train. Then trains start banking up behind them, and people then start, what's going on here? Why aren't the trains moving? It affects so many people for one person not waiting a minute.
And near misses on level crossings, that's another big issue, isn't it, Andrew?
Yes, it is. We have a lot of level crossings here in Melbourne, and we're putting a lot of effort into trying to educate people as to how to use the crossings properly and how to not abuse the crossings. So Tony's mentioned trauma for drivers. This is a huge problem for us and a huge concern. So we get about 80 near hits a month on the network because mainly people are not following the rules. So you'll have seen some footage recently on TV where we've got people blatantly going around barriers at level crossings, people who are walking across level crossings when the barriers are down, the bells are ringing, the lights are flashing, the train's approaching, and they just walk in front of it. Now sometimes those people get killed, but even when they don't get killed, imagine being a train driver, being faced with that. It's just unacceptable, and we've got to eradicate it, and we've got to take measures to eradicate it. And I want to see much higher fines and much more proactive prosecution of these people.
Because the fines, I understand, are very low, aren't they?
Well, I was at the MCG recently, John, and during the game it came up on the screen. If you go on a pitch, it's going to cost you $8,000 or something.
Yep.
It's about $350 or something like that if you get caught and prosecuted for trespassing on the railway.
That's ludicrous.
It's just ludicrous. And you've probably maimed one of our drivers. And this kind of trauma for drivers is just unacceptable. We should not go to work expecting to be traumatised. And we need to work together to eradicate this.
And Tony, you've seen this, haven't you?
That's right, John. If you think about it in terms of this, I have to line up to go to the bank. I have to line up and wait at the supermarket. If the booms are down, what's the harm in waiting 1 minute?
Exactly.
You know, and the message we want to get out there is people are using the iPhones and you know, they've got the earphones in and they're not aware of what's going on. So if you come to a crossing, stop, look and listen.
Not aware,
simple.
not aware, or they just don't care.
Well, they're wrapped up in the new technology.
They're in their own
not
world.
thinking. Yeah, they're in their own
Or
world.
they're simply in a rush. It's we see that time and time again, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
I think a lot of the issue is they don't perceive the danger. And I think there's a lot of we can do in the educational space and communication space to make people realise just how dangerous it can be. Trains weigh 250 tonnes, they take 250 metres to stop, and they can't steer out the way. So our Dumb Ways to Die campaign, very successful for the younger generation, a lot in the press and in the media with regard to the dangers of abusing level crossings particularly is where we need to go. And then the deterrent in terms of more strict fines.
Viewers, let's have a look at this ad, Dumb Ways to Die.
Stand on the edge of the train station platform. Drive around the boom, gets at a level crossing. Run across the tracks between the platforms. They may not rhyme, but they're quite possibly the dumbest ways to die. The dumbest ways to die. The dumbest ways to die. So many dumb ways to die.
Be safe around trains, a message from Metro.
Viewers, we'll go to a break now, but after the break, we'll come back to this topic and also the very sensitive topic of suicide. Welcome back, viewers. Tonight we have the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of Metro Trains, Andrew Lezala, and Tony Brock, a train driver of 37 years. Andrew, before the break, I mentioned the sensitive topic of suicide. It's an issue that train drivers and train personnel have to deal with almost on a daily basis. TrackSAFE has started to implement measures to deal with it. What do you think?
So suicide and people being struck in the rail corridor is a really big problem for us. And it's a really big problem for the welfare of our drivers. On average, we have about one person struck a week, and mainly suicide attempts. Around 60% of those succeed, around 40% don't though. And this is a message that we really want people to understand, is that people get into, and we feel very sympathetic towards people who are in a mental condition that makes them want to take their own life. But our drivers don't deserve to be exposed to this trauma. In a rail suicide, I think it's the only suicide where there is an innocent victim, and that is our driver. So we, working with TrackSAFE, have developed a trauma management framework. And the way that works, John, is it's in 5 phases, really. First of all, try to screen people before we employ them for their susceptibility and vulnerability to traumatic stress. Secondly, once employed, to try and do some scenario training with them to pre-program them to the possibility of near hits or suicides, so that they're less affected when it happens. And when it does happen, to have the right immediate response. And I'm sure Tony will talk about that and how that is so critical for the driver. And then there's the getting back to work phase, getting people back with their workmates, back into a normal routine. And then in the longer term, the welfare of their families and themselves, because this affects the family. This affects the whole support network.
Well, it's a ripple effect, isn't it?
Yeah, because people, some people cope better than others, but everybody is affected, and it does affect their home life. So this is with that rate of incidents that I mentioned, and the time it takes to actually properly care for people, this is a major programme. And I'm delighted to say that TrackSAFE took up the initiative. We're working with them on that. This is groundbreaking stuff in the rail industry.
And Tony, you yourself have personally witnessed 9 fatalities.
That's right, yeah. From the early days with V-Line, because it's changed a lot now. In the early days, if you had a fatality, you might have to walk miles to get to a phone, because we never had radios or mobile phones.
Really?
So my first one, I had to hitchhike from the Golden Valley Highway to Ngambie to get help.
Things have changed now, haven't they?
It has. Things are a lot better.
And you've again witnessed countless near misses.
Yes, I have.
The effect of witnessing, and not only yourself, but on drivers, of witnessing these fatalities, these near misses, it's a compounding effect, isn't it?
It is. When you have your first one, you might think, oh, a train travelling at 80 kilometres an hour is travelling at 22.5 metres a second. So a person might be, say, 50 metres away from me. In 2.5 seconds, I'm going to hit him. And 2.5 seconds isn't long.
No, no.
You know, so it gives you a big scare. And after a while, it depends how many you get, that 50 metres then starts going out to 75 to 100. But you're going to be there in 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
And counselling, that's been offered now. What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, what we've done is a collaborative approach with Metro, with the unions, with all stakeholders. They've all got together. We're now doing groundbreaking stuff because we've done a new, what we're going to call a trauma pack. In the trauma pack, the driver will get it on the scene, he'll take it home. In the trauma pack there'll be a letter for his partner, his wife. Generally speaking, your partner, or in my case my wife, she's my best friend.
Yes.
I'll be able to give the letter to her. It'll explain what a traumatic event is, what's happened to me, what's going to happen to me, what are the do's and don'ts. Keep an eye out for this. If something bad's happening, here's a 24-hour number so she can ring up and speak to someone. It's not a recording. They'll be able to talk to someone there and then.
Fantastic.
Because I might not be in the headspace to ask for help, but my partner, she will notice the difference in me.
Well, a lot of people don't know when to ask for help, do they?
True.
And you're dealing with a situation, with a traumatic event, which you yourself may not even know how to deal with. That's
right. And generally speaking, now we go to the trauma centre. We're going to encourage our wives to go with us if that's what they want, so they can understand what we're going to go through. It's really important that we continue down this road. We're on the verge of implementing it. So there's lots of things that we're going to trial it. If it's good, we'll keep it. If it doesn't work, we'll trial something else. So, this may be the template for the rest of Australia.
Tony, what else would you want to see being implemented to literally to help workers on the train system?
I'd like to see a campaign to educate people about the dangers of track. The fines must be increased. In saying that, a lot of people that do these things can't pay the fines.
Yes.
So what do?
Well, do we jail them? Who knows? It's and most of the time they're just youth skylarking, aren't they?
That's right.
We want to get that message across, don't we, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, making people aware of the dangers that they're in. People who train surf, there's 1,500 volts on the roof of a train. If you go anywhere near it, its likelihood is you'll die. People go on couplers, doing coupler riding, go over a set of points, chances are you get thrown off.
Exactly.
So education is critical in all of this. I'm really pleased that TrackSAFE are also doing the education programme in the schools. That's great. The fact that our Tony's not only one of our long-standing train drivers, he's also our health and safety representative, one of our health and safety representatives in the driver space. And this collaborative working to get a holistic view on prevention, deterrent, and also care is we just need to continue down that road. So we've started the journey, we're well down the road already, but we've got a lot further to go yet.
Andrew, Tony, you both love trains and the railway network, don't you?
Yeah.
And from what I can see, you're passionate about it, but at the same time, there's a dangerous dark side also that needs to be taken care of, doesn't there?
Yes, it's all part of managing a growing, vibrant railway. And as we become more aware of the duty of care and the depth to which we can actually help people by working together, all stakeholders, we actually can help to reduce the amount of harm that's being done
and these incidences
by third parties on this rail.
And as an employer, you have a duty to provide a safe workplace for your employees.
Yes.
And to provide follow-up counselling for your employees, and in particular regarding incidences, fatalities. I commend you on what you're doing. And Tony, any final thoughts?
Well, what we're doing is we're spending a lot of money, many millions of dollars, in fencing to try and fence off areas that are repeat areas where we have a lot of near misses or near hits.
Yes.
So we're looking at where we're having the near misses or near hits, so we can figure out strategies to overcome them.
So it's not simply a question of money; it's also strategies.
Correct, it is. So we try and understand why certain spaces are high frequency locations,
exactly,
and fence them. And we got $3.5 million from the federal government, $1 million from the state government to do this fencing. Andrew,
Tony, thank you for joining us tonight. I think your story vibrates with everyone. It's a compelling story. Viewers, we would like and we want to hear your feedback on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you, and stay safe, as Tony Carbone would say. We'll see you next time.